There's nothing wrong with asking the wealthy to pay a little more in taxes. Everybody should do their fair share, and everybody should play by the same set of rules. The bottom line is, the top 2% doesn't need help. They're doing just fine. Everybody gets a fair shot, and everybody does their fair share. They think that if you just help wealthy investors, it helps everybody. I think the opposite. Let's not hold the vast majority of Americans hostage while we debate the merits of another tax cut for the other 2%.
All right, well, the president can't seem to say it enough, but now one of his top fundraisers is saying, at least in this argument, enough is enough. Don Peebles says that the rich are indeed paying their fair share. Now, he sits on the campaign's finance committee. You still like the president. You still intend to vote for the president, right?
Absolutely. I'm a big supporter of the president and have been since 2007, and will continue to support him and will vote for him in November.
All right. This class warfare thing, whatever you want to call it, is what sticks in your gut. Explain.
Well, I think the messaging that's coming out, and this is not just the president, but the messaging coming out from the Democratic side tends to be a criticism somewhat of wealth or wealth creators. And so what that does is it kind of penalizes or makes people uncomfortable with being successful or wealthy. And most Americans aspire to achieve one or both of those.
The president argues you're not paying your fair share.
Well, I'm paying my fair share. And I think what the president's message, what I think he's trying to articulate, is the country's in trouble. And therefore, because the country's in trouble, we need more revenue for the government. And
do you agree with that?
No, I don't. I think that the government has to make the case, one, that they've made all the cuts that are necessary before they ask Americans to pay more, and also, two, make the case that an increase in taxes would actually have a positive impact on reducing the national debt.
But it sounds like you have your doubts about that.
I do. I do not believe that
how can you support a guy who espouses that?
Well, look, I'm pleased that the president is out here trying to get a tax cut or preserve the current tax rates for 95% to 98% of Americans. No, and I think he should do it for all 100% of Americans. Look, if nothing is done, there'll be a tax increase. If he and the Congress do not extend the Bush tax cuts, which they should, and the president should sign when it gets to his desk, then we're all going to get a tax increase. And in this kind of environment where the country's at its knees, we do not need a tax increase.
So when you hear the rich can afford that tax increase, what do you say?
America can't afford the tax increase because
what Just if your taxes go up?
No, what America needs is it needs those who have more money to put the money in the economy.
Gotcha.
And to infuse activity here, not give it to the government to spend it where they see fit, and it'll take them 3 years to figure out where to put it.
You're very successful at what you do. You're very accomplished at what you do. You're in the evil 1%, right? So, but I'm wondering whether, and I've heard others who support the president who espouse what you just said, but they're getting tired of the class warfare rhetoric, tired of the president arguing as he has of late, even questioning entrepreneurs doing it on their own, saying that there was an infrastructure, saying there was a system in place that allowed them to do what they did. I would argue, yes, that's a given, but to then assume that all had the wherewithal and the smarts to capitalize on that besmirches them.
You know, a good friend of mine who was a banker when I started off my company told me the definition of luck, and it's where opportunity and preparation merge. The reality is all of us are going to have, if we're Americans in this society, most of us will have opportunities across our path. And those who are successful generally see those opportunities and then act upon them. Look, the government certainly creates an environment for us to be successful.
Do you think that's what he was saying or trying to say?
Well, I think he was trying. I haven't seen his speech in context, but what I think, he was saying was that the government creates an environment. However, it's like if I owned an athletic field, and I owned this athletic field, and Brett Favre actually had played on that field. He went as a child, and he went on to become the great player that he is. I'm not responsible for Brett Favre being the great quarterback, but I helped give him a place to develop his skills.
Yeah, but if you were at the White House, you are.
No, I don't think the president.
Take a bow.
I don't think the president's saying that. I think the president's saying that.
But do you worry with all this noise, because I get a sense of this, that he doesn't like wealthy people. I just don't think he does.
Well, I think that the president's actually an affluent person himself. So I don't think the president dislikes wealthy people.
Yeah, but if you listen to his rhetoric and how strident it is lately, obviously they feel they're capitalizing on this in the polls. They must have done some surveys to say this is working. So I think we're going to see more of it. You know him better than I do. You support him strongly. I just think it's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope, but I think the president...
Well, if you were to meet him, what would you say? If you were to talk to him? Mr. President? What would you say?
I would say what you're saying. It's a slippery slope, and I think that part of this messaging is distorting and taking away from the
Whatever
great
he would
success
tell you, take a chill pill.
No, I'd remind him that he's reduced taxes on small businesses 18 times. That SBA loan volume is up 70%.
He hasn't disappointed you with this rhetoric?
Oh, this rhetoric in general has disappointed me and actually hurt me.
I mean, this is to the core of who you are economically.
Well, actually,
and you're still
but I'm more than right, because I'm more than economics.
Okay.
I was a Democrat when I had no money. I believed in a fair system, and I still am the same thing. And I think the distortion that happens is that if we say that because now I've been a Democrat my whole life, my whole adult life, I've been raising money and supporting Democrats since I was 23 years old. And so to say now at 52 that I'm a bad person because I raise money, that's not a good thing to say. And I don't think he means that, but I think the message is saying that, and that's not where we need to be.
All right, well, you're your own guy. I will say that. I'll give you a lot of credit. Donahue Peebles, still supporting the president. Very good seeing you.
Great seeing you.
Steal you back.
Great.
In the meantime, taunt like an Egyptian. Protest.